It's a fascinating industry because you either get it or you don't. It's very much the Wild West, as you would know it. You can't stay still. A business is either, and a person is either growing and changing or they're dying on the vine.
Welcome back to another episode of Relentless Life on Your Terms. I have with me Lisa Pennell. Lisa, thanks for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Now, you have a quite interesting journey. You've been in real estate for quite some time, but you never started in real estate.
No.
So tell us a bit about your journey to where you are now, some of the awards and accolades you've won, and more importantly, some of the lessons. So let's start from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Well, I started my professional career studying commerce at university and working in a professional accounting firm as an auditor, which was absolutely not the right career path for me. I figured that out within a couple of years. And I would say I'm the accidental CEO, if anything. I've taken a very twisted road to this particular role. And it's not necessarily something that I sought. It's more that that's just where the journey's taken me. So I've been through a number of different roles in different industries. I spent quite a lot of time in the telco industry when mobiles first came to Australia. They show my age. Real estate, I joined that industry again by accident in around 2000 when I was a director of the very first utility connection business in Australia.
How did that go from one to the other?
Which
I was
accounting
going to say,
to
how does that connection be made? No pun intended.
Yeah.
You were in telco.
Yeah.
How'd you jump to real estate?
Yeah, well, I was in telco for a number of years, and as I say, I was part of the Optus launch in Australia when mobiles were first innovated. Moved into the retail environment, so I was sort of worked through, again, was promoted accidentally through to, I haven't applied for a job since I was 23, so that's why I say accidental. Was a state manager in a retail firm, and then in the dot-com boom, I was headhunted to a dot-com that was a comparative services business, and so that took me to Sydney from Melbourne. And again, a series of coincidences, ended up in a partnership with an old uni mate. And the first utility connection was someone's bright idea over a Sunday afternoon barbecue. Why don't we help people connect utilities when they move home? And that exposed me to the real estate industry through a partnership with Ray White. And that commenced a 20-year journey with Ray White and associated businesses, which again, embedded me quite deeply in the real estate industry.
Did you fall in love with real estate straight away?
I think it's a fascinating industry because you either get it or you don't. It's very much the Wild West, as you would know. It doesn't operate like other industries. And that makes it fascinating and difficult and fun and frustrating and all of those things. And I guess probably accounts for a big reason why a lot of people that we're just talking about ADHD, you're never bored in this industry. And so I've always found it fascinating to be a part of it. I've never been a real estate agent. I've never owned a real estate business. But I've always found it fascinating to be a part of that industry in a corporate role.
But here you are 24 years later 25, years later since you started.
Yeah.
Finding it as a CEO of a battery plant.
Yes.
So again, just through different progressions.
Yeah. So as I say, I had the pleasure of working very closely with Brian White of Ray White for many years. And that was from the early days where we were nowhere near the number one brand in Australia, right through to, the mega business that it's become today. And just after the first round of lockdowns in COVID, it was time for us to part ways. That was a long journey that had sort of reached a natural conclusion. But I was exposed to a number of different elevated projects, senior roles, really interesting work in that, and obviously getting to work alongside a man who was, a very inspirational leader. And I then went to Harcourts as COO for a couple of years. And then this opportunity I crossed paths with back in Victoria, so I moved back down here for the CEO role.
How long have you been in battery plant now?
2.5 years now.
You know what you're saying? I find that very interesting because I think every job, every career, whether pick any role, including a CEO, has a tenure where that passion or that fire starts to waver. And if you don't acknowledge that, you're not as purposeful, you don't enjoy it as much. People become a little bit bitter with what they do. So transitioning on in a really nice tone, which sounds like you've done it a few times, it keeps that relationship great. And when someone leaves my business, I always say it's not goodbye, it's until next time.
Yeah.
And that next time could look anyway. Could look like partnership, could be a joint venture it could be working again. I think that's very interesting. Some people just hold on.
It's really interesting you say that because my team at Barry Plant is made up of quite a large number of individuals who I have worked with before in previous roles. And so this role very much feels like a full circle, consolidation, if you like, of my career overall. If I look at my team now, as I say, I have very deep relationships over many, many years with many of those people, and we've come together back in this business, which is very exciting.
So Melbourne, Sydney, back to Melbourne, 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about the office that you're running now, a bit about
Yes.
some of the wins and more importantly, some of the challenges.
Yeah, absolutely. So Barry Plant, as anyone who knows the Victorian real estate industry would know, is a legacy brand here. It's an incredible meeting of two very strong leaders, Vic Kerr, who had EJ Doherty, and Barry Plant, who obviously had Barry Plant. And that merger happened 26 years ago. The brand, grew and grew and grew, was number one in Victoria for a number of years. It began to stagnate. I think the shareholders are, very happy to acknowledge that the sort of stopped innovating. And by about 2019 or so, it had fallen off the perch. I was at Ray White at the time. We had conquered the number one position, and Barry Plant had slipped back to number two. So in walking into this business, I took on a business that was ready for reinvention, ready for transformation. And so this journey over the last couple of years has very much been about that, revamping our, head office team, revamping our value offering, ensuring that, our people are empowered to obtain the best results, that we're recruiting, that we're growing. That's been the journey. In terms of challenges, well, I'm not sure where I would start with that. It has been extremely challenging on a number of fronts, but extremely rewarding at the same time. I think when you're in any sort of change management program, anyone who's been through that adoption curve would understand the challenges. You have your innovators and your early adopters and every category of person right through to the laggards, and there's different challenges with each type of personality that you will deal with. But people are always the challenge in anything. The other stuff's easy in comparison to people and relationships. And I think that's a very rich fabric.
They do. They say there's the innovators, the imitators, and then the idiots that follow after it. So it's
I
usually
wouldn't
in
be
three
that cruel,
sequence. But it's no, I've heard that many times, and I find that fascinating because sometimes you're too late to the party. But there's a fine line as being first to market or adopting a strategy that can really work. So they were ready for change, and obviously you came in, and it's always a challenge when you're trying to change a business, whether that be culture.
Yep.
And I've changed quite a few sales teams from when I was employed as a national sales manager, and my methodology probably wasn't popular, but it was effective. When I was asked to come back and lead the team, I said, I'll do it on one condition. And the guy said, what is it? You let me run it my way. And he goes, what does that mean? I said, if you employ me, you'll see. So he did. And we had a team that was turned negative, turned stale. And it's very, very hard to change a team. So on Monday, my first day of business, I let the team go. And it was just me. And I said, listen, this is what we're looking for. You can all reapply for your job. Tomorrow I'm hiring. I think it was about 8 to 10 or in that ballpark. Half of them came back. I was managed to save a small portion of them, and I started a team again because I wanted to rebuild that culture. No excuses. We're going to get this done. We're going to have fun. It's very, very hard to change that when it's embedded. Culture is so important.
Yep. And it comes back to what you said originally around that outsight, I guess, and that awareness of your own stagnation. I do believe that anyone who's in a role for more than around about 10 years is probably generally the tenure if you're not moving into a different role or a different challenge or whatever, and you're able to reinvent yourself. I think you lose that objectivity around the work that you're doing because what was great once upon a time, there is no stagnation of you can't stay still. A business is either and a person is either growing and changing or they're dying on the vine. There's nothing in nature, even if we look at, the physical objects that don't technically have life. This couch is right now getting older and eventually it will need
They
to be
do have
replaced.
life, yeah.
Same goes with business, same goes with culture, same goes with team, and again, if you've got the same team operating in the same way and they're operating in any business that's operating, they will become insular if there's not constant change and reinvention and challenges thrown their way.
But you actually acknowledged it because as Barry Plant was number one and went number two, you need a different mindset, a different person to come in.
Yep.
And I think Albert Einstein sums it well. He goes, you can't come up with a solution with the same consciousness that's in that problem. You need to remove yourself.
Yep.
That might be fresh people. It might be a different way to look at things. And when you're embedded in something for so long, or you just might feel comfortable. We're doing good enough now. Now's the time to bring in some new people. So you went from CEO, got headhunted to Barry Plant. What were some of the first few things that you actions when you went in there?
Well, the first thing was all around the team and the culture, and my real passion is team building and leadership. So
Leading with impact, I saw you read, with purpose.
yeah, and I think making sure that we had the right people in the right roles. I'm not a radical. I didn't come in and wipe the team out in the way that you've described, but my preference is more to work with people and see whether we can help them reinvent. And, a number of people were able to reinvent themselves. A number of people, it just wasn't the right thing for either party to continue on with the business. And so in rebuilding the right skill sets and the right energy and the right culture, that was kind of phase one. Phase two was, okay, let's make sure the value offering is amazing. So rebrand the business. The business's branding had become tired, so it needed a refresh.
What were some of the things you did to do that?
It's about, for me, branding has to show the essence of the business, correct? And so it didn't show that. It actually looked like what people were perceiving it was, which was a boys' club. It was a very masculine looking logo and brand style. And so I spent a lot of time talking to members. Actually, when I walked in, they were already partially through the planning, and they had come up with a design style that they thought was going to work. But in me coming to understand the business and some direct feedback from some of our directors, it absolutely wasn't the right thing. So I made the hard decision to throw it all out and start again, which, again, if you're heading down a track that's not right, as soon as you realize, even if you've invested,
because you throw good money after bad, good energy after bad. What a good initiative, though. It's a boys' club. We're hiring a female CEO. That's probably a good thing. But I will say, in my defense to getting rid of the whole team, I did work within the team for 6 to 8 weeks.
So you weren't quite as ruthless as you insinuated.
No. So the director brought me in. I was on a hiatus, learning. I was learning finance. This is one of the most positive human beings I know that never complains any outside factors. Calls him up and goes, "Chris, I need you to come back and do some leads." I said, "Why?" The whole team's complaining that the leads are bad. I said, "First of all, I can't believe you're calling me and saying this. Secondly, do you actually believe this? I got to go." That was the end of the conversation. Next week, another call. Next week, another call. I'm busy now because I wanted to learn a bit about finance. He goes, "Please come back. Just work." Okay. So I did 5 to 6 weeks. I saw 22 appointments. I booked 17 out of 22. I was a bit rusty because I was out of the game for a bit. We would usually book 19 to 20.
Yeah.
And I go to him, "Mate, there are outcomes." And that's when he said, "You need to come back and run the team." So I had that insight, but I knew even from that phone call, they converted one of the most positive minds that I knew, and he was making the most ridiculous call to me. And I was shocked that the person making that call goes, "Chris, they're saying it's the leads." And I go, "Are you serious? Do you believe this?"
This is the group think, Chris.
But it's crazy because I know this guy so well. I learned from him. And when I go to, "Mate, have you lost it?" It was the second, third or fourth call. Third or fourth, I think, that can just come back. I go, "But the outcome if I come back. I'm going to convert.
Yeah.
It's not the leads. Just come back." First of all, he could have went and did it himself because he was such a good salesperson.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, he was getting too comfortable position. I don't know. So when I went back and I did it, and I go to him, "But you knew the outcomes, mate."
Yeah.
And even that 17 out of 22, that was me being rusty. I go, "What did you expect to happen when I came back?" So yeah, it wasn't as ruthless. I had the data.
Yeah. You'd already done some pre-research.
No, he told me the team's not performing. They're saying it's the leads. We always have the same. I go, if they qualify, you book them because their booking rate was low. Sales rate's different because if you book, that's all you can do. If they don't qualify, that's where they got those leads.
Yeah.
But as an in-home consultant, all I can do is book you.
Yes, of course.
Do you have a $600,000 BC, 700 tick? If you don't qualify, I can't control that component.
Yep.
So they weren't booking. They were saying the leads were terrible. They're not qualified. I go, "Mate."
It's human nature, I think, to deflect blame, isn't it? I mean, this is one of the interesting challenges of leadership and any role that has any sort of power is that the risk of then turning into that person who's, losing awareness. And I think it's incumbent on all leaders and everybody generally to exercise that muscle of awareness.
I learned a very valuable skill, or a very valuable lesson, I should say. I did not think that this person would ever make that call or he's convertible. But hanging around, when you're sitting in a bad smell all day, you start to think it smells normal.
Yeah, agreed.
And when he made that call, I said, "Wow," I just couldn't believe, because I feel like I'm like him. You could never tell me it's the leads, it's the ever.
Yeah.
And if I ever said those words, I'd be shocked. So part of me was fascinated when he called me a second, third time, and a fourth time, and he converted me, because I just thought,
Yeah.
I've got to just wake this guy up again.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
But we do forget. That's the funny thing. Knowledge. You said before we started the recording, there's no new knowledge, and you're quite right. But how many times do we forget something and then we're reminded of it? And you're talking about your friend. The veil comes over, and then the sight. And this is the fun thing about life, is there isn't any new knowledge. It is a constant journey, and it's a constant challenge to stay present, because it all comes back to that.
That's why I find it fascinating that people, it's, you've got to, collaboration is much more better than competition, because if we collaborate together, the real estate market's so big. How many times are you going to come across me? Not many. But if we work together, how much can I help you build your brand? Conversely, how much can you help me build my brand? Then we can better serve our clients. Isn't that a better outcome? When people go, oh, I don't want him to look at my IP. Wow, is the IP that innovative? You've got Elon Musk that's open patents on an electric car.
Yeah.
I think how to sell real estate is not as detailed as that. Let's take it easy.
Yeah.
And I've got a friend who, he's a builder. When everyone gets really stressed at his office and they're walking around with, like, chickens with no heads, he goes, hey, we're not saving lives, we're just building houses. Let's put it into perspective. We're not a surgeon here.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not suggesting that we don't take what we do extremely serious, but we've got to step back and just breathe and analyze, try to come up with the right solution.
Agreed.
So you went and implemented that. What were some of the pushbacks? You've got as you said, a male-dominated kind of brand or industry. Here's a very strong female coming in with strong opinions, relaunching a brand. What were some of the pushbacks?
Well, probably, Melbourne's quite parochial, as you know. I'm not from Melbourne originally. I'm from Queensland. So
you've been Sydney, Queensland, you're everywhere.
And I probably think, naively, I probably didn't think about that, that would make it even more difficult for me as a leader to be female, never sold real estate, not from Melbourne, and I know nothing about football. So,
oh my God, you had like 4 X's.
So, I toddle in after, a failed experiment that they had with the previous CEO that didn't translate to the intended outcomes. And so, yeah, there were a lot of challenges, but I guess I'm a bit relentless like you, in the sense of, if I take something on, I'll absolutely, give it my best shot until I can't anymore. And so with an open heart, it was funny. I was just talking to my ops manager this morning, who said the first time she met me, she was like, why is she so, smiley and friendly? That's got to be fake. And I think that's probably another headwind is, I'm probably, until you really get to understand me, that I am actually extremely genuine and values driven, that it's easy to assume that's just a show.
Because a lot of people think that way. I had a friend of mine who's a business advisor. He was in private lending and banking for 18 years. Then they asked him to be the CEO of Porter Davis Homes, and there's Adrian Hondros.
Right.
Very smart man. And I said, how did you address everybody? Here's a guy coming in, who lived in Perth. You're now going to be the CEO. And he said, I'm not here to tell you how to build a home. You guys know all that. I'm here for governance or leadership. And I said, what a smart approach.
Yeah.
So he's going into that. Now, he did have real estate in his family, in his blood. There is a connection with finance and real estate, but what a smart approach.
I mean, that helps.
Oh, that's massive. That's massive.
Let's not underestimate.
But his approach to be able to do that, his awareness to know that, hey, you got people in here with more experience than I'm ever going to have. And his approach to disarm them or to educate them on why he's there turned him into a very successful CEO.
Was that his first CEO role?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. And again, there's learning curves in that too, because this is my first CEO role. And you say, what's the biggest challenge? It's probably that too. It's a steep learning curve. Your friend sounds like he had incredible foresight to really think about tactically how he would enter.
He's one of my business advisors. He's one of the most deepest thinkers, very calm and poised, very smart. He's very, very high emotional intelligence.
Right.
So to go into that industry, it's not as challenging as you did as well, interstate, which doesn't sound like much, but it's a cultural thing because it's an us versus them.
And I commuted for a year, so I was still a Sydney person.
That's massive. I've opened Sydney offices and I was a Melbourne boy in a Sydney office. That's a big challenge.
Yes.
And female and not knowing about football, which I can relate to 2 of those things. It is a challenge. It's a hurdle. But also through every challenge creates a massive opportunity to create impact and change.
Yes.
Once the penny drops, it might be a lot harder, which I'm sure it was, but you can create more impact.
Well, and I think most of our, the vast majority of our directors now really do understand, I am what I say I am, and that's been a huge journey to get to that point. But we definitely are, we're moving in lockstep where, it's a very connected group anyway. I think the gap between franchisor and franchisee is very small now, in terms of relationship. There's a lot of trust building and that brings momentum. We're all very excited. The rebrand, we've received a number of awards on now from
You
design.
received a few recent ones too.
Yeah.
Can you share some of them with us? Because I know one you were super proud of. We had a coffee and you told me about it.
Yeah.
Can you share that?
I'm little kind of reeling a little bit from that one, but we were a finalist in the industry AREB Network of the Year, Large Network of the Year awards around about a month ago, and to my shock, we actually won it. So, 2 years into the three-year transformation journey, because this year is really our year of growth. A lot of the hard work is now done. It really took me by surprise. I had not anticipated that at all, but absolutely thrilled for our network, and obviously it means a lot for our growth plans. So, very exciting.
Well, look, as with everything, awards are never won on the night. It's won on the tireless hours beforehand with the team working. The awards, just like I use the analogy of Olympic gold medalist. He never wins the medal in 9-10 seconds to do the sprint. He's probably spent 10, 20 years
That's
of his
right.
life. People don't see that. They see the, hey, I won the award and the hard work. And it's really good to hear someone acknowledge, wow, I didn't expect to win it. But it's
I
all
was
that
speechless.
But it's the 2 years of that, those 4 challenges that you faced prior, they were a big cornerstone to converting your team. What were some of the wins that the penny started to drop? Hey, Lisa's here. I'm a female CEO. What were some of the things that started to really turn it around?
I think, our brand refresh has been broadly loved by our members, and we have received a Melbourne Design Award silver in that. In the Global Design Awards, we received a silver. They're not industry awards, so to show that, we've taken a corporate approach to a rebrand that's, had accolades from design industry has been huge.
Nice.
I think definitely some of the moves that we've made in terms of growth, the reinvention of some of the aspects of the technology in our business. We've gone from, quite an archaic system in the tech space to, leading cutting edge stuff. And, the journey we have planned even beyond that will take us to the front of that, our industry in that space. And I think, so marketing and tech obviously being the huge ones. Compliance has been a massive shift as well. The franchising industry has become extremely complex. I have no idea how smaller groups are navigating it because it's, there's a lot of challenges in that space. So getting the group up to speed and fully compliant in that space has been huge as well. And I think that gives our shareholders and our members a lot of confidence that we're operating with the correct governance, the correct processes and procedures, which, I don't believe a business is capable of sustainable growth unless those, you take the tree analogy, the roots have got to be deep.
The foundation.
The storms come, you want the roots to be deep. So we've focused on building really strong roots in the business.
So the foundation. So obviously coming back in, rebranding, winning designing awards, winning industry awards. It's obviously like a big whirlwind.
Yeah.
Male dominant brand, female CEO.
Yeah.
There's a lot of key milestones in that brand and in your journey.
Well, and I have to say it wasn't a male-dominated brand. It was perceived to be a male-dominated brand, which are two different things. In fact,
of course.
I don't believe our shareholders tactically decided to hire a female CEO. I don't think they saw gender when they hired me, which is ironic because the brand was, our industry.
It was a massive benefit.
It has a lot of men in it. So, and the branding looked male. So kind of that was the perception of the brand. But in actual fact, it's such an accepting brand, accepting of diversity. So it's a bit of an idiosyncrasy in the brand there.
But it was basically a massive benefit.
Huge. Yeah. I mean, and as I say, a difficult journey, personally extremely taxing, but very rewarding at the same time.
Well, Lisa, what's on the horizon for the next few years?
Well, I don't know. Who knows what happens tomorrow, Chris? We may not leave this building.
We will be.
The plan at this stage, as I say, is, we're on a tremendous trajectory of growth. That award will help us a lot. For me, my personal mission is around creating more trust in our industry. And coming back to what you said previously, I think when agents and agencies can collaborate and be harmonious, that's a great thing for our industry. One of the reasons why our industry is not trusted is that at the appraisal table, agents throw each other under the bus all the time. there's so much criticism and bad behavior between brands and even officers within the same brand within certain brands, and that breeds mistrust. It just shows us as a rabble rather than a group of professionals.
And you're criticizing yourself. If you need to talk about another business to get business, I'd never think that's a good look.
No.
Even if you're talking and people go to me, Chris, what do you think of commercial real estate? I think it's great. I can tell you why I deal in residential real estate and the benefits. But I said, I know very successful people that are in commercial. I know very successful people in shares. Do you think apartment's better than this? I go, here's the benefits to one to the other, but you pick. When you have to put a company down or a service down, I think it reflects more on yourself.
Absolutely.
Or your brand.
What's that one finger pointing for three back or whatever the
and
line is?
Is that how you're going to get business? So you tend to see a lot, and I think the good agents in real estate, because my business has a bad name. People make great money, so there's people doing the wrong thing by people in marketing real estate. But I'm here to wave the flag. We're not all the same. There is great operators in this space. There's operators that collaborate, and there's operators that are here for the best interest of their clients. They want to be here long term, not 20 years like me. I want to be here for another 30, 40. I think that's only through collaboration and through care. Now, Lisa, we could talk real estate, we could talk business all day, but it comes that time of the podcast. Are you ready for your quick fire questions?
Okay, I'm scared, but I'll do my best.
No, they're easy. Instagram or TikTok?
Oh, Instagram.
Wine or beer?
Wine.
Sneaker or heels?
Heels.
Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix.
Rainy day or sunny day?
I'm going to say rainy day.
Summer or winter?
Winter, definitely.
Plane or road trip?
Road trip.
Cardio or weights?
Cardio. Sorry, weights. I shouldn't say cardio. I hate running.
What's one thing on your bucket list?
Oh, I don't know. I can't answer that question. I don't have a bucket list.
Well, an interesting fact, Lisa, you're a singer.
I am a singer. Yes.
There you go. I read that. I'm like, that's so cool. Now I know that about you. Now, what are your pet hates?
Lying.
Me too. What keeps you awake at night?
Lying.
I'm getting a trend. What is your biggest fear? Being lied to.
Sorry. Being lied to. Yeah, let's go on the same theme. I don't know. My biggest fear is being trapped by fear, because fear is a negative energy, and I don't want that in my life.
What brings you happiness?
Love.
Look, this is a funny one. Which of the 7 dwarfs would you be?
What are they? I
don't know.
remember.
There's Sleepy. There's what else? I don't even know them all, Nathan.
Can I just be the girl who looks after the 7 dwarfs?
Snow White. There we go.
I'll be Snow White.
Is there an event that's changed your life? Like one key moment?
Yes, absolutely. My departure from Ray White. Yeah.
In a good sense as well.
It was a life-changing, it was a life-changing moment for me in a lot of ways, in a really positive way. Yeah.
That's good. And you've done very positive things. This is a fun. What's the most embarrassing thing you've ever done?
Oh, I don't know. There's a litany of embarrassing things. And I wouldn't tell you even if I could think of which one.
We're not recording or anything.
Oh, yeah,
This
right.
won't go out to anyone. Sorry, guys, I tried. Maybe I'll find out and put in the comments later.
Ask my team. I do embarrassing things every day, so that would be hard to choose one.
Who would play you in a movie of your life?
Oh, I don't know. Snow White?
No, what? If you were not in real estate, what would you be doing?
Good question. I'd probably do the same dynamic in a different way, which is all about connecting and helping people.
So people.
Yeah, helping. It's about helping. Yeah, for me.
And the most popular one, on a scale of 1 to 10, Lisa, how much have you enjoyed being on our podcast?
Oh, of course, 10. Does everyone say that?
No. I usually get a lot higher, but you're a tough crowd. But anyway, 10 out of 10 is no good. I'm happy with whatever I get as long as people are having fun and connecting.
Thank you, Chris.
If you like more episodes of Relentless, please remember to share, like, and subscribe. Thank you very much for being on the podcast.
Thank you.